Okay, this is a Xbox 360 Slim RF module. The guy followed a YouTube video that wasn't mine, obviously, and because of their inability to tell people how to take these things apart, he wound up accidentally ripping off the ribbon retainer clip on the RF module. Thankfully, he did not pull the contacts, so I figured you guys might get a kick out of watching how to solder this back on. I know some of you know how, others don't. This is very fine work, and if you look around you'll see all them little tiny components nearby. You touch one of them with your soldering iron and it's all over with. There's your crystal for your frequencies. That'll usually be what the cause is if you accidentally or wind up losing the ability to sync your controllers. Alright, so basically what we're going to do is just kind of line this up and look how this, make sure these pins that used to be on the old clip are nice and straight because they were all bent up. And I apologize for a lot of the out of focus on this video. And I didn't quite get it on there as good as I would have liked to as far as the camera showing it, but I think it's alright for now. Maybe someday I'll remake the video, but it's pretty straightforward. Apply a little bit of flux with a Q-tip on the existing solder, align the ribbon retainer clip nice and straight, actually what I'm doing right at the moment is cleaning off the soldering iron, so just take a moment here and I'm going to tack on just a couple of the forward contacts just to kind of help hold it in place just a little bit and hold it down, and then I'm going to actually solder on the right and left clip retainer. Alright, just a quick tap. Alright, now I'm soldering on the left side. Heat up the pad, and then just before you pull the soldering iron away, just drag it in an upward motion along that metal piece that's on there, and it warms up a little bit, and then that'll give a nice pull. And then all that's left is to make sure all of the contacts that's actually sending signals are all intact. Okay, so what you do here is you apply a little bit of pressure to the contacts with the soldering iron, and then give a good liberal blow or blast of air just prior to pulling that soldering iron off, and that'll cool the tip of the contact just enough so that the contact will not lift off of the pad as you pull that soldering iron away, and then it'll allow it to cool while it's still in contact with that. Okay, after you're all done, you're going to clean it all up. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Make sure all of the contacts actually did make it all the way as best possible down to the actual pads, even with the solder, and make sure you got some nice coverage with the solder. And we'll take a quick peek at that here. I'm just going to inspect everything, make sure it's all nice and good. And this was in fact a successful repair. Thankfully he didn't have to spend too much for it or replace the board, and thankfully he didn't damage his ribbon cable. So let's take a real close look at what this thing looks like after it's soldered on. There you go. Nice and clean. Okay, now, like I was saying, when you're soldering them 5 little tabs on, add the downward pressure from the soldering iron as far back toward the clip retainer itself, and then just lift, right? That should give enough cooling at the very end of that to hold it down when you lift it up. If you simply just hit the iron on them tabs and then lift it up, the leg is liable to just lift back up, and then you'll have a whole bunch of solder underneath it, which will either eventually become a cold solder joint or will be a cold solder joint. So just add a little bit of air just prior to lifting it off. Now remember, if your soldering iron is too hot, you will burn the contacts off of the board. So if you're not familiar with soldering, you probably should not do this yourself. It would most likely be easier for you to buy a new RF board and simply install it. However, if you'd like to try it, that's fine. Just keep in mind that if your soldering iron is too hot, then with all likelihood you're going to burn the contacts off, burn up the clip, and it's over with. But thankfully the RF module is not a box specific component and is not all that expensive. I think they're like $20–30. Anyway, if this helped you out, make a donation, or if you're unfamiliar with my channel as to why I just said make a donation, visit some of my other videos concerning bad repairmen, bad repairs, licensed businesses that are not actually licensed, ripping off the kids and gamers with repairs that they learn from YouTube when they have absolutely no background in electronics whatsoever. And good luck on the next couple of giveaways come this December 21st, 2012. I have 3 giveaways of various items, and you should definitely go check them out. If you're watching this video months or a year later, I'm sure I'll still have the giveaways still going, which is under a membership. Go look for the membership videos. Take care, stay safe, happy gaming.